How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How about you?
I am doing really, really good. Really looking forward to this conversation. So, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and then we'll jump in the conversation?
Well, I'm Stan. I'm a serious entrepreneur, and this is my third startup. And this is the first startup in the AI field, and I'm really excited. I've launched it. I live in Spain, and I'm traveling between the United States and Spain because mostly our clients are from United States and Europe. And I have a wife, and I'm happy. I've met her. So, and I'm just working for 14 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Don't burn out. That's just a side note. We could have we
Everyone
could
suggests me that.
yeah, exactly. And I'm the burnout guy, so definitely don't burn that. Don't burn out because we need you to be creating and making this latest venture amazing. So, AI, of course, we talk about it on the show quite a bit. And what I've discovered is it reminds me a lot of the .com era because I worked in IT during that time, and there's a lot of similarities as far as just a lot of innovative thought, creation, new products, new ways of doing some things. So it's an exciting time. So obviously, with your experience in launching other businesses, that, in my opinion, is going to give you a bit of an advantage over other people that have never launched a business before, but they say, well, I can launch a business. I'll just leverage AI to do it. But you've seen all the pitfalls. You've seen all the things that have worked and the things that probably didn't work for you. And for you to jump back into this in this AI play speaks volumes again, because a lot of times people go, I've done it a couple times, that's enough. But you're one of those serial entrepreneurs. Like, no, I am a creator, just like an artist or a musician or a painter or anybody that creates anything. It's just in your DNA. So let's talk about your latest adventure with this AI product. So why don't we dive in a little bit on that? So what's it all about?
Actually, I will answer, but I would like to highlight about advantages. So I think that I have a lot of disadvantages because I'm 39 years old and many our competitors are launched with entrepreneurs who are like 10, 15 years younger. And every time everyone says that I have advantages because I've already launched several startups, I say that I don't have as much time as like young entrepreneurs have to fix the mistakes, to adopt their product, etc. And that's why I have both advantages within my knowledge and disadvantages within my age. Yeah, but to answer your question about our startup, this is like our fourth pivot, and for 3 years, I spent 3 years investing in the startup with no revenue at all. I spent a lot of my assets, and currently, we've launched the platform which creates courses from scratch, and highly likely you've met a lot of platforms like this, but we've gone further, and we've launched a learning management system, a knowledge base, a lot of interactive things inside, and currently we grow like 30% month over month. And we've already gone through two investment stages. We have really good investors on board. And I think that finally we have found our product market fit. And that's why I'm working so hard because we just don't have time to fill in the all the gaps we have right now with a lack of employees. We are hiring more and more, building a sales cycle. So finally, I'm happy because I was really afraid like a year and a half ago.
Oh, sure. It's anytime you launch anything, there's an element of fear and uncertainty into it. But uh, I know you'd mentioned it's like you don't have the advantage of the younger people that don't have the life commitments and the time and all of that. But on the flip side, what has worked in the past and what hasn't, so you don't do the things that in all likelihood wouldn't work in this situation. And yeah, there are going to be bugs. There's always bugs. I mean, even Microsoft Windows, the latest version of their operating system, it has bugs in it. And they've been at it for decades. It's still going to have bugs because there's so many different connecting parts to it. But when it comes to the product that you're offering, excuse me, um, with a learning platform and all of that, I find that when you do that right and you make it easy for organizations and individuals to learn things, uh, we're all starving to learn. And I think a lot of organizations would benefit from properly onboarding their employees. We know the stats. I do a ton of work in the workplace culture and burnout space. And we know that if a new employee is onboarded right, and right is a relative term, but if they're onboarded right, there's a 63% chance that they're going to stay longer than a year. Now, if they're not onboarded right, and they're just like, well, we just figure it out here, they're going to get frustrated. They're not going to get any help, and then they're going to leave, and you're just going to have this constant turnstile. So, organizations that do the investment and spend the time in creating knowledge bases, courses, materials, whatever makes sense for whatever industry you're in, it goes a long way in helping them. And with obviously with your product, the turnaround time on creating something, because it's leveraging AI, is a whole lot shorter than it would have been even 3 years ago. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Nothing to add actually, except companies do need data right now. And this is the second thing we are talking about. So you can onboard employee right, or by the way, you need to onboard him fast as well because uh, the the world the world grows, everything is being changed all the time. But you also need data. What's the difference? How you should benefit from this? And many companies they build solutions for employees, but we also build a solution for HRs and salespeople, like chief sales officers, etc. Because actually, these people, it's easier for salesperson. Yeah, you have a KPIs for the whole year, and you have, if you've hit the milestone, everything is great. But in the HR field, it's sometimes it's really hard to show your personal impact and how you changed, how people are trained, how they perform, etc. And our platform helps with this as well, with all the data we provide to our clients. And it's a really big game changer. And thanks to all the people I talked to, and they share the same ideas about this.
Well, it makes in training, and I've done corporate training, and I've trained new hires, and I've been trained, and I've been onboarded in organizations, and I remember the good experiences, and I try to forget the bad ones. But again, I think, especially with your platform, is what I love about it. And there's a lot of things I love about it, but one of the things that jumps out at me is, how adjustable and customizable it can be. Because when you first, and I'm going to put my consulting hat on for a second. So you're talking with a company, and they're like, okay, we want to implement this solution, and this is what we currently think we need. And we all know that organizations, what they think they need and what they actually need, sometimes aren't the same need. So one of the beauties about it is you can implement something and they go, you know what, this is actually not what we need. We need this. Well, even a few years ago, that could have been a complete redesign. The scope would go out the window. But now, with this platform, it gives you that autonomy to say, okay, no problem. We can adjust this. We can make this meet these needs for these things that you didn't tell 2 weeks ago when we were having our first initial onboarding call to implement this system. And again, going back to when I worked in IT, I did work for a software company for a bit, and that was a common challenge. The organization or the company would say, I need this and this and this. and the developers would design it based on this. And I said, that's not what I wanted. Well, that's what you told us you wanted. And so this helps kind of bridge that internal and external knowledge gap in a way that creates a situation where the company and your organization and can come together and create something that is, quite frankly, agile, adjustable, customizable, and also, meet the need of the customer, not just now, but even scaling down the road. So um, when you were building this, and I ask entrepreneurs this a lot too, is you obviously saw a need. There was a gap. So was this based on your previous experience in dealing with LMS platforms or other training things? And you're going, you know what, this is a problem that I see, and I think this is something we can solve.
Actually, it's a funny story, and every time I'm talking about it, people do make some notes how to do in future. So I've already mentioned that we've gone through several pivots and nothing worked. So I've logged in into LinkedIn. I have found some entrepreneurs with already successful exits in our field, in the field of our startup, or with really big companies related to plus my billion plus minus, and I've messaged them, "Hey, I'm Stan. I have a platform for soft skills development, and it doesn't work. No one wants to buy it. Can you please help me, advise me what to do with our product?" And 9 out of 10 answered me. And we had offline meetings, calls with these people who already achieved really big milestones in their lives, entrepreneurship lives, and they've shared the insights. I've collected a really big table of what to do. I've connected the dots, and we've built our solution based on advices I've received from these people. And that's how I've jumped into like professional HR field. So I've just listened to experienced people who've already achieved something in this field.
And that just shows, your intelligence and going, okay, there's something I don't know. I'm going to reach out to people that do and figure out how to make this happen. And a lot of entrepreneurs, I see this all the time, and even people that have been in business for a long time. It takes a bit of courage in a way to say, hey, I don't know this. I'm going to seek some guidance and learn from somebody that has done this so I can strengthen what I have. Even, with your roadmap that you have and the plans you have going forward, that is driven by customer requests and just things that you notice when you're working on some things. And I think that's, again, it shows, when you launch something like this, you have, a plan. Because again, I see this with a lot of startups where they're like, they want to give the customer everything and anything. And they spend all their time and effort building all these things. And then all of a sudden, using a software analogy, the code gets pretty bloated, and then it gets unmanageable unless you are really, really disciplined. And again, I think that's where the AI play can, if again, doing it right, can help you with that. Because again, going back to my IT days and software days, I worked for a company and they serviced a particular industry. And the challenge that that organization had was, they wanted to make sure that they gave the customers what they wanted, which is not bad. That's how you have customers. You give them what they want. But what happened was they were, quite frankly, they were taking some shortcuts and they were trying to turn it around quick. And when they did that, they made the software such where it was really difficult to upgrade, because whenever they did an update or big rollout, break out of that custom code instead of designing it over and thinking with, okay, in this record, pull from this custom area, so that way you have your base platform that would be able to update no matter what. But if you keep throwing custom code at it, well, guess what, every time you do an update, you'd blast the custom code and it would make a big mess. nice thing about AI and coding and in modern coding now is you have some basically some boundaries and ways to be able to prevent that. But again, when you're talking with customers and you're rolling these things out, and even like looking at your roadmap going ahead, it's one of those things where you look at that, and I'm sure that you and your team are being diligent about rolling those things out, saying, okay, if we're going to be putting in options, like for example, option for timer sounds, okay, that seems pretty. I mean, I'm not a software developer at all, but that seems to be pretty straightforward. But depending on how you put it in, what does that do with the other stuff? Again, in a way, for software designers, it's sometimes as if, and I think this is where AI really can come in and be helpful. It's you have to have a complete understanding of the entire code, which is a lot. And it doesn't matter what kind of program it is, it can be humongous. And you may not think, okay, if we implement this, what is this going to break? And again, I think it's one of those things where with this platform and what you're doing with it, I mean, obviously you've had the multiple rounds of funding. Congratulations on that as well, but you're doing it at a pace that I think is, in my opinion anyway, the right way to go about it. I know everybody wants instant, everybody wants it yesterday, but do you want something that works or do you want something quick? And most people will say both, but if you want it right, sometimes it's not going to be quick. So, how do you and your team kind of keep yourself in check when you want to satisfy the customer needs, is basically what I'm asking.
Well, you're completely right. Again, great talk, by the way. There is a big problem that companies do want to improve the experience inside the platform. They want more and more to get, and they always reach out just to asking to improve something. And there are several things which I would like to highlight. First of all, you can release new feature and you can have bugs like you have mentioned with Microsoft. But if you have a really good customer experience, I mean customer support team, customer success team, clients do forget about the bugs you had before, like 3 or 6 months ago, but they do remember how you treat them, and it helps a lot. And second of all, when we are talking about fast features release, I have a great team, and the hardest thing for me was to build a culture where people do care about product. They can work at night, and they have families, they have kids, they have obligations. But I do see that on Saturday they work the whole day because I see a lot of commitments in the GitHub, etc. And it's like I was really lucky. But if we will return back to the beginning of the call, my experience helped me to understand that people should work in the environment they want to work in. Otherwise, you will not get nor neither good solution nor you will get it fast. So you will get nothing. That's why in this field, experience helped me a lot and played a crucial role.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned that, to work in the field that you like working in. And I see way too many people, they're working in fields that they don't like. Maybe they did when they first started, or maybe they took it it's because, well, I need a job. I need, money coming in. Completely understand and know that exactly how it feels. But when you can work in an industry or a place that you enjoy working, it's where passion can show up. That's where you feel comfortable. There's not this I don't understand this industry feel. I mean, maybe you didn't in the beginning, but if you're working in an industry or a field that you enjoy doing, it makes the work easier. I'm not saying the work is easy. It just makes it easier because you're not constantly going up against this. I don't like being here. I don't like this type of work. And we all have the autonomy to be able to, work where we'd like to work. May take some time. You might have to get educated. You may have to learn some skills. But I'm a big advocate for, finding out what you like to do and do that. And I know a lot of people give up and make up excuses why they can't, but I tell them it's like you can do it. I've been fortunate to do a lot of things in my career, and there were some things that I thought that I'd really like and turned out really didn't like them. But there were other things that I did. Um, that I enjoyed so much that, I was upset when I decided to, take on another opportunity. Like, I'm going to miss working in this field. There are some fields that I worked in that I'm like, I don't miss. I don't ever want to go ever back to them ever again. Healthcare is one of them. Now watch, I end up taking a healthcare role somewhere. That would be, the universe going, oh, really? Okay, well, here you go. Congrats. You're back in healthcare. Yeah, next time think about it before you say something. But I love how you said that. It's so important. So in closing, what are some things that you're looking, forward to working on with this platform? And, who knows, maybe your next adventure. What are some things you see over the next, I'd say, 6 months to a year? I never say 5 years anymore. That's who knows what's going on. I don't even know what's going to happen in 5 months, much less 5 years. But what are some things that are, in the short term pipeline for you?
Really smart question because I always face the questions like what do you plan to do in the next 3 years, and in AI era you really don't know what you will do in 6 months. Oh, okay, in 12 months. So the question is good. Um, um, we've launched some really good values. I don't say features because I don't like when people build features, not values for their clients and customers. And I think that next 6 months we will focus on improvements because finally we've understood that we've built a full vertical of products, like starting from onboarding and initial assessment to trainings, knowledge base, knowledge retention, and personal growth. Now when we need to improve these flows, and I have a couple of hypotheses I want to test. Actually, my team tired of testings, but I have, and we need to do it. I'm not tired, and ADHD helps a lot in entrepreneurship life. So we need to like structure everything we've launched. We understand what companies do love in our product, and we have a really small churn rate, and we have a really big conversion rate from our competitors. It's more than 25%, which is huge in this market, and we just need to improve the collaboration of our internal products together, to give more data, to give more insights, and to give more automation for our clients. That's what we plan to do within the next 6 months.
It's a aggressive timeline, but I'm sure you'll crush it and continue to move forward. So, Stan, love this conversation. Where can people find out more about you and all this amazing work you're doing?
Okay. Pardon me. I haven't heard the last part.
Yeah, the where can people find out more about you and all this amazing work you're doing?
Well, actually, you can visit www.evolveplatform.ai, and you have even my contacts there, so we can have a call. I would love to actually, and I'm Stan Suchkov, and also you can find me in Google and my contacts as well, and in LinkedIn.
Awesome. I'll definitely have all that in the show notes. So, Stan, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate you and continued success with this latest adventure.
Okay, thank you. Take care.